Right then. So, you've you've booked your session. You've got some vods for me. And we haven't got any specific goals in mind here. I mean, I'm sure the grand overarching goal is get better. But is there anything in particular that you've noted as a problem that you need to, maybe work on, or is there anything in particular that you're struggling with? Just talk us through how you feel about the game at the moment.
No, well, I mean, to be honest, I haven't really thought hard. I would say I don't really necessarily have a game plan when I get into the game. I just play. So probably even just establishing, a plan would be a start, I guess.
Cool.
Um,
Cool. Perfect. No
yeah, I
worries
guess
then.
it's probably just watching the VODs will give me more ideas about where exactly, things can improve.
Of course. Okay. Okay. So, and when it comes to the character as well, are you like hard set on like I want to play Cloud?
Yeah, I like Cloud a lot. There's other characters that I like. I mean, I have kind of a pocket in Cinema I've used in bracket a little bit. There's
Nice.
other characters all right, but like I got no problem with sticking with Cloud.
Cool, all good. Yeah, no, that's not like a saying. That's not me suggesting to switch off him, but it's one of those ones where I don't want to go super hard on how to play Cloud if it's like you're kind of on the fence with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Let's give this a watch. Can just to check? Can you? Oh, actually, let me share my screen. That would be quite helpful. So you should be able to see the screen and then me in the corner.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hello.
perfect. Cool. So can you see my mouse on the screen as well?
I can.
You cool, perfect. So what I'll do is I'll occasionally pause at places and I'll just sort of point out things here and there. So let's give this a watch then. Okay. Okay. I will just give it like a stock or so just to see exactly what I'm looking for here.
Yeah. We
Oh,
don't need to rush into. Yeah.
yeah. It's secretly a little bit funny for me as well because one of my most played opponents is Azalea, like he's also a Falco player, and I despise this character.
To be honest, I'm not. Yeah, I hadn't played really good Falcos until that weekend.
Yeah,
Uh,
when they've got all the combo game down, it's an absolute nightmare. Okay, so when I'm watching your play, at the moment it looks like, and this is a really common thing. It looks like when you're picking options, um, there's not a lot of understanding into what moves should be used in what situations. Um, but that's fine. We can sort that out pretty easily. But it's like um, So if it's like you know, if you ever watch like football, right, and you ever watching with like a crowd, and they all start shouting "shoot" when they're like anywhere near the goal, even though there's very clearly no chance of the goal actually being scored from where they're at. It's a bit like that where it's like they're near me, I've got to hit him, I've got him, just hit him with anything. It's like, where is it like, no, you got to set the play up and pick the right moment to swing.
Right.
So this little sequence here is a pretty good example of what I mean, because you look at this situation, right? So you've got the ledge positioning here.
Mm-hmm.
They're at kill percent. And what we'll do at the end of the session, after we've watched the VODs, is we'll try and segment the game into a couple of specific game states and tell you what moves to use in those situations. And then that will hopefully give you a really solid base to work off. And then it'll be easier to build from there in terms of a game plan. But in this situation, like it's one of those ones where it's like, okay, you can cover the ledge options quite consistently with like, you know, just short hopping and then back airing as soon as you see an option.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little else that you can really do without taking a big risk, and you don't want to take a huge risk here because you're in control of the situation, right?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is you've dash attacked early, they're not there. You've rolled into the ledge, which is it's basically there's a lot of options being picked in quick succession because then there's a down tilt, then there's another down tilt, and it's like a selection of options which when you look at it from the perspective of what goal are you trying to achieve with each option, they don't really. It's options that don't make a huge amount of sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, what I would recommend doing, and we'll go over the whole VOD. We'll keep going over it because it kind of all tracks. I mean, you've got that bit down. It's like when they hit the shield, press the up B. Like that's probably the most obvious one. So you very clearly know how to do it. It's just having the information on how to go about stuff the other ways, or going about the other stuff. Because it's sorry, hang on. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought entirely. It's like you've got the up B at shield, so you know how to do it. It's just having the information on what options to pick in what situation.
Yep.
Because at this point in time, I mean, because Falco's gotten up to a high percent, and it's like, I mean, every time they get up to a high percent, it's like, you know, if they've gotten past like 150 or so, it's like, right, okay, I've clearly failed at the task of landing the kill move here.
Yeah.
Okay, down tilt, alright. Yeah, so that was just a bit of a panic option. It happens. You tried to sort of disrespect the option, which is not a problem, but... By the way, if Falco grabs you at low percents, hold out, and you can't do that forward air.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's, I mean, general.
Yeah,
if in doubt, just hold out.
That's like a matchup check knowledge, but like I said, it's one of my most played matchups, and I hate this piece of shit character, so...
But I guess in general, I should default to at low percents. I should be getting out. You know,
yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like the easiest rule of thumb is if they're gonna start a combo, hold out. If they're gonna kill you, hold in.
Yeah.
All right, that was good. Okay. Surely not. Alright, so that was unfortunate, but the thing is, what you were doing there was actually quite good. So, because this was all the right idea, it just didn't work. It's an important part of the whole learning process and learning to like improve your game plan. It's gonna be accepting when you did the right thing, but you didn't quite time it right, and it just didn't quite work out. Because there will be loads of times where that happens. Like trying to like short hop, wait for the get up option and back airing, or then F tilting to get the get up, is the right option. But it was just mistimed, and then got caught with the funky up air DI.
Yeah. I guess earlier, I mean, I was going like obviously dash attack
Yeah,
a ledge, sometimes gets the kill, but I guess it's like just throwing it out,
yeah,
hoping is not, especially early when we've not established habits and I've got no real reason to believe they're gonna
yeah, exactly.
get
And
up
it, yeah,
there. Is the issue? Is the issue?
yeah, of
Okay.
course. It is. It's about it's so easy to get into that mentality of just going hit him, hit him, hit him. I gotta get him, I got him, got him. It's just like no, you just calm it down. The cool thing about Cloud, and part of what makes Cloud so good as a character, is that he's able to pretty much establish the pace of the game on his own. He can pretty much say to your opponent, "No, we're playing at my speed. You
Mm.
can't force me to play any slower. You can't force me to play any faster. You're going to have to respect my back air. You're going to have to respect my, all of my big safe buttons. You can't mash on me because I've got a huge up B shield that's really fast. Um, you march to my drum, so
Yeah.
you don't have to kind of start panicking and going, I need to, get him and hit him now because that's almost going against what makes the character so good. But that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
We'll watch We'll watch this one
Appreciate
as well. I'll probably not pause a great deal because I've got the gist of what's going on here. Well, that was weird, but yeah. But actually, something that I might just help with trying to explain stuff. Do you play any other fighting games, or is it just Smash?
It's just Smash, really.
Just Smash, okay. No worries. Okay. Okay, that was a good grab. Oh, that was unfortunate. Okay, so that was good.
It's a habit, though. I basically just mash side B after every landing back air,
Yeah,
and sometimes it's wrong.
yeah, but the reason for doing it is a valid reason. So we're gonna
Yeah.
try. We're gonna like mentally justify because I'm pretty sure I know what you're thinking. You're thinking if they try and punish this back air, I'm gonna hit them.
Yeah. Well, and I think the reason that it becomes such an ingrained habit is actually there's a lot of spots where it's good. Like if if I back aired their shields, then often it'll punish their shield option. Or if I hit it low percent as a combo, and so it just becomes
Yeah,
a habit.
yeah. So it's one of those ones where it's like it's. I can totally see why anyone would do it because it's mostly a good option.
Yeah.
And because especially at this sort of level, a lot of people will um, immediately try and take their turn back. So there's a thing. I'm going to just briefly discuss this. I won't go into too much detail. Um, but when people get their shield hit by something, almost like the vast majority of players from like sort of like mid level and below will always immediately try and punish because I
Mm.
think they've hit my shield. It's my turn to attack. In some characters' cases, like Game and Watch, that's valid because it's always their turn after their shield gets hit because they've got broken out shield options. But
Mhm.
a lot of characters don't have that. A lot of the time, it's just okay. My shield's been hit. There's nothing I can really do. Time to just disengage or time to wait or whatever. So doing that, like landing back air into side B, will catch a lot of players off guard. But eventually, there'll be players who kind of don't get caught off guard by it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think that's where I think I've maybe trained the whole scene to not let
yeah,
me
yeah.
punish that.
Yeah,
So
I've
that's
noticed you fully complete the thing every time, even if it's on shield. Um, just as a little side note.
I do sometimes mix up. I guess, but maybe I haven't in this match. But
Fair,
yeah, I get.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, you got your jump stolen, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to take him down with me, but he was ready for it,
Yeah,
or just fell out.
the lasers can get really annoying on Falco, but it's one of those ones where it's important to just remember that they don't actually do much damage. So it's like it's not really a problem to get hit by them as long as you're like on stage.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice, nice cat. So this is watching you is very interesting because usually, because you said sort of, because I looked at a few of, like your results and such, and usually the problem is usually the problem for people who are sort of like operating at your level. Usually they're just mashing a lot. You're not, which is a good thing. This is a good thing that you're not just mashing, but it's not what I was expecting. I can't lie.
Okay.
All right, fair enough.
Forgot about the landing hitbox to play against Falco more.
Yeah, no, it's so irritating to deal with. That was an interesting option.
Yes,
That's one of those. Wouldn't this be funny if it worked? Okay, so something I want you to watch. Okay, you do this thing which I've always called moving like a chess piece. I remember saying this to, do you know CK, the Link player?
I don't know.
No, okay. He's a Link player from London and then east of England. He's very very good, but he used to have this habit where he would always move in set increments, and a lot of people do this as well, and you are doing it. It's where with your movement you use things in the same. You either use moves that have you use options which have set movement, so like rolls, down tilts, or whatever, or when you move in the air or when you do jumps, it's almost always like all full momentum in one direction, so it becomes very easy to keep track of where you're going because there's not much in the way of mix-ups in movement. I can't overstate how broken just dashing is in this game. Like just running back and forward is really broken. So we're just going to go back a couple of seconds, and I want you to just try and watch specifically the way you're moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've rolled, jumped, like full drift. Like when you do your aerials, actually, do you do it with the A button?
I usually use the stick.
Okay, you use a stick. Okay. What's usually really good with a character like Cloud is if you drift backwards as you do an aerial. So if you're doing a back air, you drift in the direction you're facing, and if you're doing a forward air, you hold backwards. Because it makes it harder to punish.
I think specifically, I think that weekend and maybe against this player or character, I was preferring to overcommit just because he would punish my whipped aerials.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no worries.
But sorry, you were still
yeah. So obviously, like it's moving like
to
a chess piece thing. So obviously, you've been hit by a combo. You've air dodged onto a platform. That's fine. But then you've landed on it again. But then you see like you're doing these big like long jumps all in the same direction, or if you're either committing to the whole all the way forward, all the way back, or just straight in place. There's not much in the way of actual movement in a set direction.
Yeah.
So it's like a rook, right? It's like there is set angles that are being done. Whereas what you find if you watch a lot of good players, and when we're done with that set now, if you watch a lot of good players, when they're moving, it's very, it flows very well, and it's all in the movement. It's because they'll be dashing back. What they'll do is they'll hit a landing aerial and they'll dash away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm often rolling away, which is
Yeah,
what
and
you were saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all stuff that is essentially a commitment because the basis with a lot, which is the case with a lot of fighting games, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but it is just true. The first person to make a commitment loses. That is mostly the case. So the first person to pick an option that's risky is usually the one who's going to get punished. So the idea is to play in a way that's very low commitment, but still applying some form of pressure without actually committing to stuff itself. You basically want to be a really toxic boyfriend. You know, your opponent's going, "What are we?" And you're going, "I don't know. I'm not really ready for it at the moment." That's what you're doing, but in neutral. but it's so it is one of those cases where by making those big commitments, so like the rolls, the down tilts, the full drift aerials, you're making it far easier to get caught out by stuff because they are much more committal than what you want to be doing. Does that all
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. I think I need to like practice that. I think I found okay, well you were talking a lot about grounded stuff and that makes sense. Yeah, I think definitely trying to dash instead of roll or down tilt is something I'm gonna try and get in the habit of. I've struggled with being a little bit aware of like aerial drift being my aerial movement being kind of linear. I haven't tried it. I think I need to try harder at it, but I think I've found I don't know if Cloud's air acceleration is like not that good because it feels like I can't mix up my air movement that well.
Well, it's one of those
Um,
ones where if you're in a juggle situation, then no. But I mean, if you if we'll do it when we load up the game a little bit later.
yeah.
But if you what you'll find is that if you short hop in one direction and then immediately hold back, even in the time for that short hop, you'll already be drifting, or you already would have stopped your forward momentum and have come all the way back. Because there are a lot of characters with poor air acceleration. I mean, to be honest, it's a design choice for a lot of characters with poor air acceleration. Because have you ever tried juggling a character with good air acceleration? It's impossible. And
Yeah,
it
well, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
That's what I find. Yeah, people are able to mix me up. I find a hard time catching them. I'm like, I'm jealous. I need to get good at that.
yeah, like
So yeah,
it's an intentional design choice to have poor, just outright air acceleration. But when you're in control of the initial movement, it's a lot easier for you to do it.
yeah,
And because what it allows you to do, it allows you to threaten their space a little bit more, but with less commitment. Because it's one of those ones where the further away you hit them with your sword, the better. You you pretty much always want them at the tip of your sword.
yeah.
That is the case with basically every swordie not named Roy.
Mhm.
And it's massively helpful in the long run to be able to use your movement in such a way that you do stay in that range. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. We'll check out this next game because it's a completely different style of character, so I'm interested to see how this works out. Um,
Yeah,
I do see it's a longer set, so was this a game 3?
yeah. This one was the game three.
Cool, good.
Oh yeah, no, this is the first
Oh no,
match.
did they
The
not change the thing?
first. It gets fixed after a minute.
Okay. Yeah, let's just make that slightly bigger for you.
Yeah.
Samus is always a fun one to try and figure out. Because for a lot of people, they find her extremely irritating to deal with.
I guess I'm there. Yeah. Oof.
Hang on, let's go back and... Oh, yeah, just got caught committing.
Yeah.
I see what you mean about the back air into cross slasher. You do actually do it nearly every time. Oh, there we go. Okay. Right, so... I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, realistically, anything I've already said is said for the first set is going to apply here because it's from the same tournament. But But it is a case of what a lot of people do when they're playing against a character like Samus is they're really pushing hard to just try and find their way in. And it's like, I'm in, gotta hit him. And it's like, it's just not that simple, unfortunately. Alright.
Probably could have got dash attack or up smash and got the kill there.
Yeah.
I guess that was down smash I was trying to cover something as well.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's, you know, it's an option that worked in that situation. Oh, that was unfortunate. It worked in that situation, so you don't want to, you know, be too upset about it. But, you know, a hit is a hit at the end of the day.
Thing is, well, we talked about the Falco player living to really high percent. You know, if I catch, I do end up getting frustrated, but I'm still hitting cross slashes at like 120 when other options would kill.
Yeah.
That I should be going for.
This guy. So I'm just going to point out something for next time you play this guy. He jumps there every time.
Okay, so I could double jump and catch him.
Yeah. So there's a thing that a lot of people we call it the scrub jump, right? Because it is
Okay.
it is like a classic habit that people have is that they don't want to go to ledge. They'd rather jump to the middle of the stage. So they'll double jump here to try and go over you. If you catch that, you put them in such a terrible spot, and you can usually kill them for it.
Yeah.
But it's still it's probably it's probably the most common habit next to rolling in from the ledge after taking a stock. Ooh. That was an interesting decision.
I just wanted to get him.
Yeah, I mean, it's common. Like, it's so frustrating dealing with Samus because it's like, I just want to hit them. But that's just like, they want you to get like that.
Yeah.
I will give you some stuff to watch after the lesson.
Great.
That is very good for sort of making you understand how to fight characters in particular, or like how to fight all the different archetypes. But in summary, like characters want to. There are characters they basically have a set emotion they want you to do. They want you to feel when they're playing you, and that emotion will force you to play in a certain way. Most zoners, so Samus, Duck Hunt, Belmonts, Pac-Man, they're trying to frustrate you. They're trying to make you angry, so you start taking risks and going for big plays to just try and hit them. Because then you leave yourself wide open and they can hit you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my good alley.
Yeah.
I hope someone remembers to change the thing again. Oh,
I think it's faster this time.
Okay. Right, yeah. So we'll talk about the movement there again because that was a pretty good example of what I was saying, right?
Yeah.
So you're on stage, roll, full drift aerial, roll, dash all the way, and an immediate full drift aerial, swing, roll, dash. And dash in and it was like swinging right here. It's like, so it's all very fragmented.
Yeah.
Again, it's stuff that I've already said, and it's gonna be mostly the same as it was before. We'll get back to the full. We'll get the full screen thing back in a second.
I guess it wasn't faster.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, that was a ballsy chase, but you know what I said about him doing that jump every time, jump.
He got me doing it.
Yeah.
He made it out, to be honest.
Common habit.
Yeah.
Like like you wouldn't believe how common it is. Like if you start watching like sort of like mid-level play and such, you see everyone does it, and you're like, holy shit, they're all doing it. Okay, good stuff. I think what the good thing is that I'm getting from this is that when there is an objective, this is the absolute correct option, and there's like no way to say otherwise. So like when they've hit your shield at close range, you're like, I know how to punish this with the up B. Like you're never missing those. Your recoveries are pretty solid for the most part, because it's like there is an objective correct way to do that. So that's a good sign for your improvement, because that means that you, as long as you can recognize what the right thing to do is, you're gonna remember to do it. Once you've taught yourself to do it. It's just it's the bit where it's a little bit more abstract, like neutral, and like, you know, the general game states. That's the bit that's a little bit difficult. But that does mean that once we sort of get the solid base in there, you'll probably improve very quickly. But we will just go back a little bit, right? Because this whole sequence here, okay, so here was all very good, okay? You've threatened without really committing. I mean, that was a bit of a commitment, but it worked out. You've threatened without committing. You've held your positioning, and you did get hit, unfortunately, because that is broken. But even though you didn't get that much off of it, I want to point out that was all the right type of play. But it's just like, it's going to be a case of getting used to doing it.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't go there. I think, well, maybe I was scared he was going to fire earlier.
Yeah. This is the thing with Samus, it gets very scary to deal with charge shot. The most important thing is to not respect it, which sounds very counterintuitive. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's the one. I hate those.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I just got caught jumping. It's fine. But a lot of this is, other than the fact that you're not just being a gigantic masher, which is a good thing. This is all like a lot of these habits are very common, and very fixable. More importantly.
Again, if I hadn't rolled, I would have been faster at punishing there. Yeah.
Nice, good chase. But yeah, like situations like that are good because you can kind of take a swing without being at much risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was not a particularly long game, so we'll just look through it, and if there's anything in particular I can see, we'll point that out. But I'm expecting it to be pretty much more of the same of what we've seen beforehand.
Probably true.
I'm assuming he'll probably like set up the tent and just kind of make it difficult for you to approach him.
It's Samus.
Yeah.
I think I do SD, which is not it's not that. I think he also SDs, so not a good game.
No, it's just one of them ones, yeah. Oh, yeah, so there's his SD.
But we delayed that time. Same difference.
Yeah. I believe Azona gets 50% off a combo, by the way. It's very much not okay. You're moving quite nice here. Oh, and there's the SD. I saw you go off stage. I was like, this please don't let this be where it is.
Could have killed with dash attack probably.
Probably, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, we got the kill anyway.
Yeah, I mean I know I said earlier about like you don't want him to get up to high percents, but at the end of the day, if you can pick option, if you can like land the hit and keep the advantage state on, it's preferable to trying to overcommit and missing.
Yeah.
Like so, one of my old Brawl friends, because I've been around for way too long. He switched over to Tekken, and I remember when he was teaching me Tekken, he literally said, "A combo is a punish is a punish. Doesn't matter if it's if it's not optimal. If you've identified an option that your opponent's doing, and it's and you can punish it in some way, even if it's not the optimal punish right now, being able to find that punish is more important than finding the optimal punish." Or a punish is better than no punish. Yeah, that's just the messed up ledge trap. You can't do shit about that. But yeah, so what I've gleaned from watching your play, is that when you know what the right thing to do is, you're going to execute it, which is good. But at this point in time, the understanding of what options to pick in what situations is relatively rudimentary at the moment. On top of that, the gameplay is pretty instinctive, or like it feels like very starting level what people will do instinctively when they first start sort of like properly start clocking into the game. So that's relatively normal as well, and then it's just a case of getting a little bit smoother with the movement of the engine and how the engine functions. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially I'm definitely thinking, when we talk about dashing, yeah, it definitely is about level of comfort with like the mechanics of the movement, because obviously, there's restrictions on how quickly you can move after you've dashed in one direction and stuff. But I think it's what's leading me to just roll instead.
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to the game, what we want to do is we want to think about what areas we want the opponent to be in. So we'll go over this in more detail on the game. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little mental exercise. What we're going to do is open up my good friend MS Paint, and I'm going to grab a picture of a stage. There we go. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Awesome. So we've got Mr. Cloudstrife himself. Oh no, that's not the button I want. Paintbrush. There we go. This is high quality teaching tools we've got going on.
Yeah.
But we've got Mr. Cloudstrife stood here in the middle. Okay. I'm not even
Yep.
going to attempt to draw him, but this is Cloud. Okay.
Yep.
So, what we want to do is we want to look at where's best for us to have the opponent. Where do we want the opponent to be in relative to our position, and where don't we want the opponent to be? The really obvious one is we want the opponent above us if we can, or we want them off stage if we can, and we don't want to be off stage and we don't want to be below them. We don't want to be above them. That's like the advantage disadvantage, so you don't have to really think about it in that regard. Like, I mean, there's a very valid reason why most up airs are really good and why most down airs are really bad. It's on purpose.
Yeah.
But what we want to think about is in the neutral situation, where is it best for Cloud to have people?
Yeah.
And with characters like Cloud, because obviously I play a similar character with Ike.
Yep.
I've always referred to it as it being a donut. You want your opponent to be in this sort of area, so not too close to him, but not too far away either. So this whole area that's like enclosed here.
Yeah.
That's where you want the opponent
sense
to be for the most part, right?
Mm.
Because when they're up close, I mean you've got to go at a shield option, but it's a reversal. It's fast, but it's very punishable if it misses. We saw a few times where you tried to challenge with it, up like point blank, in a situation where it wasn't a guaranteed punish, and you got punished quite hard for it.
Yeah.
So you it's not to say never do that, because sometimes you do have to just let them know, get off me. It's a risky option. The odds are not stacked in your favor, because generally when you play, you want to reduce the risk as much as possible whilst increasing the reward as much as possible. So this sort of range where your buttons like back air and forward air are gonna hit the opponent, this is all very good. And of course, obviously, once you go outside of that range, you then don't really have anything.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to try and make sure your opponent is in that range most of the time.
Yeah.
There are very few characters who you won't want to do that against. And the ones who you want to not play like that are the ones which, to put it simply, outrange you. So Shulk, Shulk and Seth. Realistically, it's just Shulk and Sephiroth. I know technically Min, but that's a weird ass character. Works a little bit differently. But it's mainly just those two who you don't want to be. You want to be like trying to get a bit up close to.
I mean, I think. Well, so we just watched Sam. I think I struggle. Yeah, I feel like Sam is kind of outrageous with with her fear and her charge shot and her grab. It's
I'm glad
kind
you
of difficult to
mentioned
deal with.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we're going to quickly talk about something else. Now, this is. I'm going to step ahead, but seeing as you already talked about it, it makes it easy for me to actually talk about it now. So you've got Mr. Cloudstrife here, and you've got Samus here. Okay? And as a little mental exercise, and this, I always find this helps me when it comes to talking about, or when it comes to helping people with matchups, and with helping myself with matchups. You want to look at it and go, what buttons do my opponent have that are really good and are going to be really annoying? And where do they threaten? So, you've mentioned the big two with Samus, which is charge shot and forward air.
Yep.
So charge shot pretty much covers the ground space here. That looks a bit broken, that it covers all of this space. But you've got to remember that they've got to charge it up first. And it's not really instantaneous either. They like if they commit to firing it, they're like sacrificing an option to do it. So it covers this space, but only part time. So sometimes you can stay in this space, but you have to let them know. It's one of those ones where you basically have to say to them, and this is a problem a lot of people have with projectile characters. I am aware of your option, but I'm not just going to dance out of the way for free because I know you can cover the ground. Because if you
Yeah.
start trying to jump around all the time, you start getting hit by the other option, which is forward air, which covers all of this space because it's huge.
Hmm.
So Samus's forward air is probably one of the best, what we call an air-to-air. Name self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It basically, if you try and jump in on Samus and she's ready for it, you're going to get hit by the forward air.
Yeah.
Because it's fast, it's big, it lingers for ages. It's just a difficult move to get around. It's not even that punishable, which is the most annoying part. But yeah, so it's in that space where you have to be wary of jumping in their zone. So what you need to do when you look at this, you can go, okay, this is sort of the area that my opponent covers, and like I have to be wary of. So when you got that, you need to go, right, okay, I need to try and position myself like here to try and make them swing, make them commit to an option without me actually having to do anything.
Yeah.
Against a lot of characters, you kind of want to. Tell this is going to be a funny analogy for you. Did you ever have that thing in school where that one really annoying kid, probably always had a blocked nose, would hover his finger like right above your eye or right above your hand or go, I'm not touching you. You can't do anything. I'm not touching you. Do you ever have that?
I think I unfortunately missed that, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. So fair enough. That was like, maybe I just knew all the annoying kids. Who knows? But yeah, so like you want to be you want to be really annoying. You want to be right there, close enough that they're like, I could get him. I could get that guy right now, but not. But you're not actually committing to it.
Yeah.
Because if they do swing, it's like no, I didn't do anything. Why are you trying to attack me for no reason?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. You want to be right there, really annoying, and you want to sort of hover in their zone. Actually, better idea. Everyone's dealt with this. Have you ever had someone who's stood too close to you in a conversation, and you move back slightly to try and get your space back, and then they move back into it again?
Mm.
You want to do that?
You want to be that guy?
You want to be that guy? Because that guy's really annoying, and it's really difficult to deal with. You put yourself just in that that zone where like they can't quite do anything, but you're still threatening them and making them pick options. You're making them do stuff just by being there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what you want to do with Cloud. It's much easier to do this game plan against characters with poor range than it is with like zoners.
Yeah.
So you think, unironically, this is why Cloud does really well against Steve, because Steve's mobility is quite bad and he doesn't actually have that much range.
Yeah.
Obviously, the blocks and the minecart and the anvil are all broken and such.
Yeah.
But you can put yourself at that range where Steve's like, I can't actually hit him with anything. I've got to commit to get something. And you go, I'm just gonna keep you right at that range where you're uncomfortable, but I'm chilling. So that's very useful. It works versus all of the cast. And in the case here, it's like you're hovering just outside of the range where Samus operates well, and you're just threatening them there. Because Samus is a bit like you, that once you get right up close to them, like right up in their face, they've got their up B out shield, which is obscenely fast. I think it's like frame 4.
Yeah, it's like invincible on
it
a frame earlier
from,
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it picks up from both sides. It's a cheat code. But yeah, so that's so you want to make sure you position yourself in that sort of space where it's like you're just going to be as annoying as possible for the opponent. So that's a good one to think about in your own time. That would be a good one. That's like the closest thing I'm going to give to like proper homework, I guess. It's a good thing to think about in your own time. But what we're going to do now is talk about where you want to be in certain game states. So I'm just going to load my game up real quick. I'm hoping everything's as normal on my Switch. There we go. Oh, the borders are all messed up. Oh, whatever. It's fine. So we'll load into training mode, and I'll just sort of show a few things in terms of mobility. How you want to move more to kind of make it work better for you in neutral. and what you want to sort of look at in terms of positioning and what options to pick in those situations. Because I do this with most people, is that we'll give you a stage, or we'll give you like set situations. So there'll be true neutral, ledge advantage, juggle situation, ledge disadvantage, juggle disadvantage. So basically 5 situations for you to really look at, and it'll be easy enough to figure out what you want to do. So we'll go cloud. I've just sort of picked my color by on automatic. But yeah, so with movement. Because what you're doing is you're sort of rolling and then jumping in fully, and then it's like down tilt, that jump full range, roll, etc. So there's very little in the way of dynamic movement, is what we'll call it. Yeah? Yeah, all good. So when it comes to using, so when we talked about having the opponent in a zone that suits you, right? It's like you basically want to move in such a way that really frustrates the opponent. So this sort of range is good because while your back air's not immediately going to hit, if they commit to something, if they do anything, otherwise, I don't know why it's set to air smash. Sorry, I don't know if you've seen it. This is the training mod.
I wish I had a moddable switch. I should try and get one.
I'm sorry to hear that you don't. It's so good.
Yeah.
Because you can see everything on it. But so when you're in this position, if they commit to an option, it's gonna hit them. But you're not gonna get hit by anything they do unless they've got like similar range to you.
Yeah.
So obviously I've got Mario here. Against a character like him, he's not gonna be able to get in on this. So hang on. My voice has not recovered from the weekend. So when it comes to movement, when you're jumping, like you often like want to be moving slightly, but like doing it in such a way that kind of allows you to make it really ambiguous of where you're actually gonna be. Like you're sort of like making it really tough to tell where you're gonna position yourself. So like you do the back air, you dash away, you dash slightly and jump. So this is a common thing where you sort of like dash slightly and then jump as you do it. Because you're using it to reposition yourself into roughly where you actually want to be. But you're not committing to it with a roll or like down tilting into them or stuff like that. Do stop me if anything I'm saying just starts to make no sense, by the way. Like, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I understand what I'm saying if you don't know what I'm saying.
I think it's all good so far.
Cool, all good. So it's a case of using the dash to position yourself. Obviously, I know you were saying about dashes are a commitment, and you're right. Because you can't immediately F2 out of a dash. Like, you have to wait for the dash animation to finish. But there are a couple of key things which you can do out of a dash, which have no cooldown. Well, very little. First one I'm going to talk about is obviously jump. You can jump out of a dash immediately.
Yeah. You know what? I think I wasn't fully conscious of that, even though obviously it's part of like slingshot, which, but yeah, it's good to say explicitly.
Yeah, slingshot's a bit good, but you can then do it and then hold back. So you slingshot and then you So I'm gonna slingshot and I'm gonna continue holding back. So you'll see we'll do a full drift, jump backwards, and then you'll see I'll actually be going forwards by the end.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So this is Do you watch any Melee at all?
Not really, to be honest.
Okay. So a lot of people refer to dash dancing as like a way of establishing your presence without committing to an option. It's not quite the case in this game because in Melee you can cancel a dash instantly into another dash. You can do like You can do like that stuff, but at any point in time
Yeah.
in the dash. So it's really broken in Melee. You can't really do that in this game, but what you can do is with the jump is you can kind of weave in and out of their space just by jumping and like fading back and forward. So it's like it's that whole like hovering inside and outside of their range to make them try and swing without actually being at risk.
Yeah.
So being able to cancel the dash into a jump is very helpful because then you can jump in. So what a lot of people will do, if I set him to shield, actually, is what makes it very difficult to deal with Cloud when he's got in this sort of position. Is that he'll do the back air and then he'll dash away slightly.
Yeah.
So with that back air dash away, and it's like there's no risk. You've risked nothing to do that. You've managed to take a swing at them and not take a risk.
Yeah.
To go back to your own self-identified habit, like doing like down to into back air into side B works to catch someone trying to press something.
Mm-hmm.
But it is essentially you sticking your neck out even further than you need to.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is that with time, as you come to be able to identify the potential routes that can go on, is that when you look at a situation and you can almost know that it's going to hit before it even does hit, and you will reach up that point because it just comes with experience. When you reach a point where you can hit there, you can swing at them and you know before it's even hit that it's going to hit.
Yeah.
You can follow up into the side B combo.
Yeah.
Without actually having to take the risk if it doesn't hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just comes with familiarity to the situation.
Yeah.
So that's very useful in terms of movement. So so I said, being able to cancel your jump with your dash with a jump, very good. Something that a lot of people don't know, but do you know about dash shielding, which is where essentially you cancel your dash into a shield?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what a lot of people do is they'll tap dash and then they'll press shield, and it'll look like that. And it looks like a big commitment, right? Because you're having to wait for the full dash to complete.
Uh-huh.
If you hold forward while you do it, rather than just tap it, it goes from the dash animation to the run animation, and the run animation can be cancelled into anything.
Yeah.
So you can immediately cancel the run into a shield. So here is it here is me cancelling, doing the normal dash and then shield. You see how slow that is. If I hold forward,
I noticed you accidentally rolled the first time, which I think is the thing that I
feared
I would do.
Clouds is a very different timing to Ike's. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, but it's something to practice to make sure that I'm confident because it's not really something I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, like, this is how slow it looks normally.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah. So you can do it a lot faster, and that's quite a good way of moving yourself into a range and being safe. Because if you're in this sort of range and you're like, especially against a character like Samus, right, where they've got the projectiles, you can move yourself into their space and like be safe.
Yeah.
It's a very good way to get in against the projectiles and such. So a lot of people struggle with projectiles for that, and that works out quite well in that regard as well. And but other than that, like those are the main things you can cancel your dash from, because then that gives you a lot to work from. Funnily enough, because you can cancel your dash into a jump, it means that you can actually cancel your dash into an up B or up smash instantly. So you can like fucking hell.
Seems
that's
a little
not
tricky.
Really that useful, but that's just, but there's still stuff you can do. You can also dash in side B right away.
Okay, I wasn't really aware of that. Yeah, although I probably do it, to be honest.
You probably do it without realizing, but like your dash is not, your dash is not kept. Your dash basically isn't limited by your specials. Your specials can pretty much all be done immediately.
Okay.
But yeah, so in terms of mobility, that's useful. We're going to talk a little bit about each game state now.
Yeah.
Just try and figure out from that. And then what we'll do is we'll then play about half an hour of games or so. See if you can apply some of what we said. And if there's anything I spot, because I'm always better at spotting things when I'm playing them, I'll talk about those as well.
Great.
It goes without saying, we're going to go over time. My lessons always do. Is that a problem for you, or is that okay?
That's fine. That's good.
Cool, all good. Yeah. I don't think I've ever given someone a lesson the actual amount of time they've booked for. I always give a little bit extra. But yeah, so when it comes to this sort of situation where your opponents where you're both sort of in this mid-range sort of state, or like you're both in a neutral state, we've established you want to position yourself at this range. If you're not in this range, use your mobility, use any movement options you've got to try and position yourself here, because this is when you start being a problem for your opponent. So as we've established, Cloud's got what we call like a triangle in this situation, right? So his main option is back air, obviously. Everyone talks about how good of a move it is. They're all right.
Yep.
Massive move, covers a huge amount of space, is really goddamn safe if you do it right. Yeah, -3 is absurdly safe for a sword aerial.
Yeah.
For comparison, like Ike's neutral air is an incredibly strong safe move, and it's -6.
Yeah.
So yours is like significantly safer.
Yeah.
Yours doesn't combo, but swings and roundabouts. But this is not only good at catching people on the ground, but you mix this in with doing rising ones like that.
Yeah.
And that will catch people trying to find their way in, or catch people trying to challenge you early. Because a lot of the weakness of this sort of neutral is you have to actually be falling before you do it.
Yeah.
So it's technically got a lot of startup. But if you throw in a few of these as well, it'll catch people. It'll catch people trying to press stuff. So it's almost like a safer version of you doing back air into side B. If you wanted to challenge someone trying to make their way in, you go back air, rising. You go like back air, rising, back air.
Yeah.
That'll work out quite well as well. Or back air in there. But that one's a bit smaller. But what I will do is I'm going to try and limit everything to like maximum of 3 options to use in a situation. So back air in general, amazing option to use. Second big option you've got in this sort of range is actually side B. The reason why side B is so good is not because you can like cancel it. You can basically use it like a hit confirm and basically delay it and see if they it's what we call a wrecker. It's a term from Street Fighter, and that's why I asked if you played fighting games. It's like they don't know if you're going to swing again, and so each hit is technically punishable.
Yeah.
But because they don't know if you're going to swing again, they don't know if they actually can punish it. And by the time they go, oh, I can, it's too late. You already finished the move.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it so good. But also, because of the way the hitbox is, you see how high that hits.
Yeah.
It's really good for hitting people jumping.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be like short hopping around in neutral, and it's a very, very good way of fighting that.
Yeah.
So I really recommend using it in that situation where it's like, we're in this range where they want to start jumping, especially other sword characters, because pretty much every swordie wants to jump all the time.
Yeah.
It'd be really good versus those sorts of characters. So you've got back air for ground stuff, and you've got cross slash for air stuff for the most part, right?
Okay.
The next big thing, and I know most clouds will groan when I say this, but your actual next major option is dash grab.
And
it's not an option to use very often, because what you want to try and do, your goal in terms of holding the game plan down, you know how I said about each character wants characters to feel certain emotions. You're generally trying to force them to feel oppressed or hopeless or whatever. You're trying to just make it so they go, man, nothing I do can get on this guy. I can't break this guy's zone. he just shuts down everything I try and do. And then you're basically trying to force them to turtle up. Start shielding stuff. And it will happen. If you apply pressure properly, they will just start shielding. And then, of course, when if you're jumping with your back to them, and they're like, I can't challenge this back hit. It's too difficult to get past. That's when you then go, oh, and you don't actually do the aerial at all. And you grab them instead. So that's your main 3 options. And they all beat certain things. Back air beats pretty much anything that involves pressing any button. Cross slash beats jump. And your grab beats the shield. You want to skew towards the back air, obviously, as your main option. But then you know you can look for what they're doing out of the back air and pick the next options accordingly.
Yeah.
So that gives you a solid base to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Back as the main tool. Forward air works as well. To clarify, like this is very good as well. It's quite safe. It's quite big, but it is slower.
Yeah.
So it's slightly riskier, but it's got other new use as well. If nothing else, it's an option you can use to just kind of make the opponent second guess trying to parry and such.
Yeah.
But back as the guy. Back air is the guy.
Yep.
And then if you go, oh, well, they're jumping out and trying to punish me a lot, then you start doing the cross slash. If you see them staying in shield, then you look at maybe trying to dash grab in a future iteration. So that's useful for you. And the cool thing is that if you do position this right, even if they try and like dash in or roll in, they're still going to be behind you.
Yeah.
Which is really busted. And you basically allows you to keep your zone like that. So
yeah.
Like, so man, my inputs are so off today. My hands were shot after 3 days straight of just playing. But yeah, so that's how you want to look at this sort of neutral range, right?
Yep.
So then second situation is when they're at the ledge or when you've got the positional advantage like here. So has anyone ever explained how stage control works to you before?
I guess. Well, I guess not. But let me just try and say. I mean, if you're towards the center of the stage, you have stage control. Your opponent wants to get away from ledge because they're gonna die.
You're not wrong. That's basically the gist of it. Whoever's closest to the middle of the stage is winning, stage control wise.
Yeah.
If I'm here and they're in the corner, I'm technically winning. Where you want to position yourself when you have this sort of position where they're at the ledge or they're above the stage or something, you want to position yourself between your opponent and the very middle of the stage. The reason I use Battlefield is because it's got a very clear diamond in the middle of the stage. You draw a line from that diamond to your opponent, and wherever the middle of that line is where you want to be.
Okay.
Will make sense? So it makes sense. So say if they're up here, you want to be like here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like again, I'm going to use another football analogy. You want to guide the opponent. You want to be trying to guide the opponent away from into places where they're going to be able to do the least to you. And it's basically about keeping control of the state of play. So I don't know if you're a football guy. I usually
not really.
Sorry.
Not really, but I'll get it.
Okay, so whenever you watch football, you notice how when an attacking team is trying to go forward, they don't actually just go straight at the goal. The defenders always push them towards the corners. That's because that's the area where there's the least chance of them doing damage. So that's why it always goes off towards the sides rather than straight down the middle. If an attacking play tries to go right down the middle, the defenders will just be like, no, I'm here. We're not going here. So you want to do the same thing. You want to be like, okay, if you want to find your way back to having some stage control, you've got to do it the hard way. Because either you fight through me, or you go around me. And because of how big your hitboxes are, it's very good for this. So again, same as in neutral, your backer is incredibly good at keeping them in this position. It's incredibly oppressive, and it's super good for just stopping them from trying to get past you. and as I said about this positioning thing, if you like back out and dash away slightly, if they try and roll in to get out, because the most common situations when the opponent at the ledge is to either roll in or jump.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've covered this again. You know, you can be ready for the roll in these situations. You can either something I've seen a lot of clouds do is they'll actually like do this, and as soon as they see the roll, they'll down smash and send them back off stage. It's quite risky though. But you know they'll back it or they'll position themselves to be able to beat the roll. And then again, when it comes to the jump, you've got your own back air to catch them jumping, or you can if they then put themselves above you, then you can like up air them and go great. Now we're juggling. But the important thing when you're in this situation is to not actually overcommit, because if you decide I want to hit them, you do like a dash attack or you try and dash grab them. You're essentially risking all of your positioning.
Yeah.
To try and hit them, where the onus is on your opponent to make the play, not you.
Yeah.
You can kind of sit there and go, you've got to pick something, because you can't just stay here. Like, it's not like the training mod where the shield stays infinite. The shield will eventually go. You will eventually run out of resources. You have to pick something eventually. And that's what's really strong about this position, especially with a character like Cloud. So what I would say is, obviously, again, use your back air to apply the pressure. That's your main singular option. Again, watching for the jump with a back air or an up air of your own. And watching for the roll in. Again, you can either back air. This will come down to personal flair, really. But if you can catch the roll in, then you can like either grab it, you can down smash it, you can reposition, then like, you know, back air.
Yeah.
Depends on how you want to deal with it. A lot of it is fairly safe, but the key thing in this situation is making sure not to overcommit. Same thing goes for if the opponent is above you. I kind of want him on that platform. For fuck's sake. There we go. So when your opponent is above you, again, draw a line between your opponent and that diamond and put yourself there. Easy one with Cloud. If they're above you, up air. It's just so good of an option. Because it hits so far and it lingers for ages. There's no reason for you to have to pick another option. So I normally say like, 3 options. No, it's the one. Up air, keep them there. If they go, because you basically want to say to them, no, go towards the edge of the stage if you want to get back. You're not landing on me.
Yeah.
So that's literally the main thing. And always and again, it's the same as before, just make sure you don't overcommit. Because you could try and chase them and go high and hit them. But you could try and chase a jump at a disadvantage, but if you do that and they don't jump, you're now in the bad spot.
Yeah.
So this is the easiest one to explain, McLeod. Again, off stage situation, cover the high recovery, make them go to the ledge. Because it's far easier for you to keep them here than it is for you. So let me try that again. If you cover the high recovery and they go low, you're still in advantage. They're still at the ledge. You're back to this position again. Whereas if you cover the low recovery and they jump and go high, they've gotten back for free.
Yeah.
So it was about limiting the amount of options they've got, or limiting their ability to get back. You want to make them take the path of least resistance, which is go low, recover to ledge, regular get up or something, then try and get back to neutral from there.
Yeah.
You want to stop them from sneaking past that and jumping back onto stage early. This is why we call it a scrub jump, because at low level it'll work. People will just let you recover like this. Once you get against decent players, they're going to go, no. You go to ledge. Recover normally. So that's why we call it the scrub jump. And then conversely, rolling in from the ledge is the scrub roll. Because we're not going to just let you do that. So those are the things you want to be really watching out for. I've given you a lot of information very quickly there. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I think all of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular questions about what I've sort of established as your game plan here? No worries if you don't, but...
No, I'm just thinking for a sec.
No worries.
No, I mean, I think I had a question early, but I think to be honest, I think it was answered like trivially that back air is just broken. I was like, oh, but he's got a burst option, he can dash attack. But actually, I mean, back air will hit him if he tries to burst me there. I guess
Yeah.
it's true for most
Yeah, I mean, you
characters
have
here.
got dash attack as the burst option. Like, so honestly, dash attack, I would consider less of a burst option and more of a ground coverage option. Because when you're juggling someone, you can't always keep them right above you, right? They will eventually fade towards the edge of the stage. So if you've got someone like so you've been juggling them and they're fading towards the edge of the stage, so they're like jumping down like here. That's what dash attack is good for.
Yeah. No,
That's
sorry, I'm with you on
why.
that. I was talking about Mario's dash attack. I was like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is he really that stuck, or can he burst and get past me? But I think well, the answer is no, not easily, not safely.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
not safely is the answer. You're basically forcing him to make a commitment.
yeah,
And like I said, not only like you can also then mix in shielding yourself because again you
yeah,
can jump out a shield with no lag.
true, yeah,
So if you think he might try and do something risky, you can go back air shield, and if he does nothing, then you're just like great, jump out a shield, keep doing
back
stuff.
it, yeah,
And if he does commit, then it's like bam, up B, take 20%.
yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I do it with Ike all the time. In fact, I do it during combos where if I don't know if the nair's gonna hit, I'll do the
Mm-hmm.
landing net, I'll shield, and if it doesn't hit, then I'm safe. If it
Mm-hmm.
does hit, I can immediately jump out and then do my up air.
Yeah,
It's like it's
mm.
what we call an option select.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like if you're forcing him to stop making rago plays like a dash attack in neutral, first of all, if you get hit by a dash attack, who cares? It does like 10% and there's no combos off of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And if it doesn't hit, it's in your favor.
Yeah,
So you're forcing him to make high risk, low reward plays, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want them to have that desperation of like, I have to find something that's gonna work. Because once they start making those big commitments, that's when you can start really punishing them.
yeah, 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 makes sense.
Cool. So what we'll do is we'll hop into a few games. Pro play for about 20 minutes or so. So we get like 4 or 5 games in.
Yeah.
So
I might take. I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna go pee.
yeah, no worries. I'll pause
Yeah.
the recording now, and then we'll. Pause. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, we'll
It's
get
fine.
it now.
This one will be saved. I'll do another one as well just after this, just so there's more than one game recorded.
Alright.
Trying to break my shield.
I just thought you would drop shield, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I knew it wouldn't break at that point. I guess I could have delayed it, and then it would have been more threatening.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I shouldn't side B your shield at all because you got that armored up B. It just beats me.
Yes and no. You still got to establish that you've got to make me. Well, you're gonna lose your limit because I'll let you charge it back up.
Fine.
But you've still got to make me show you that I know how to deal with it. It's one of those ones where you can't always be like, oh, I can't do this because the opponent does this. I can't do that because the opponent can beat it with that. You've still got to show me that you pretty much do the option and be like, show me that you know how to deal with this. Because you often get cases where an opponent doesn't actually know how to beat a certain option.
Yeah.
And if you realise that they don't know how to beat it, you just keep doing that button.
Abuse it.
Keep doing it until they show you they can beat it.
Yeah.
There's like I saw an image once. It was like a written thing. It's like assume everyone is stupid until proven otherwise, and then
Makes it.
like throw in the other options. But yeah. Anyway, let's continue on.
Go.
If you want to get your limit back. Cool.
Well, that was worthwhile.
Nice. Good job, mate. Okay, so that bit hit you, but I want you to point out that dashing away meant that it didn't hit you. So you just kind of used up your resources there.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of just made it far easier for me to juggle you. Oh, okay, very good.
I had that miss. I just panicked there and it worked. Oh.
You know what? I'm not gonna let you roll through me. Not gonna happen. Told you I wasn't gonna let you roll through me.
I had to check.
Yeah. But it's one of those ones where it is, like I said, it's a common thing that people do when they're stuck in the corner. They're either going to try and jump over you or going to try and roll through you. And it's something that you got to be ready for. That was a bit of a hard call out, but I kind of have to. Ike's not got much to cover stuff like that. But yeah, okay, we'll do one more just so you've got another game on recording.
Great.
I want you to really think about how you're playing that neutral. Like, you really make sure not to overcommit to the silly things. Keep it solid. Keep me in your zone. You had the right idea. If I had parried that, I was dead.
Yeah.
Good recovery.
I've tilted 0, it's the minus.
The way you're playing makes it very difficult for me to find a kill.
Early still.
Oh, okay.
I'm altering with a hitbox, so yeah, away with it.
You've got to be ready for it. It's laggier than you think on the way down, so you can
So I could just wait it out longer, or I mean, I guess if I came in with Bear, that would be easier to
exactly.
not get hit.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Nice. Unless I get hit and immediately air dodge again.
Yeah. Well, see, the funny thing was there, at that position, I couldn't actually get any follow-up off the down tilt.
Because you couldn't fair there. Yeah, if I was a lower percent, it would have been correct, maybe. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you were at a low percent, I would have been able to combo it, but because it was that percent. But it's mainly, I mean, honestly, like, the play is much better. Like, that first stock, I want you to watch that and, like, look at that and go, okay, you know, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I want to be doing when I'm playing this character. I want to be, like, oppressing the position. It is tough versus, like, because I've got similar range to you. And there will be certain characters that are better at oppressing that range than others. So Ike's good at it. A lot of the super heavies are good for it, so like Bowser, DK, K. Rool. They're all deceptively good at dealing with Cloud.
Yeah.
But you'll find if you look at, say, matchup charts for Cloud, usually the better the matchup is considered, the easier it is to keep them out in that mid-range.
Yeah.
That is the general rule. So characters like Kirby, Mario, Luigi, you're going to have good matchups against those because they've got nothing to really force their way in. Not without taking a huge risk. So
yeah,
an extended exercise for yourself is think about how your opponents, what tools your opponent might have that might interfere with that game plan, and how you would beat that. But it can be any character you think of. It might be whoever you've got at your local. Might just be a case of just looking at random characters and going, well, this character might be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess so. Greninja, I feel like, does have a dash attack that's really low and actually does lead into things, and so that sort of scenario we're talking about, what a Mario dash attack to me seems like more of an issue with Greninja being able to burst in. Yeah,
of course, stuff like that, and then of course, although it is important to remember that Greninja's got nothing in the way of an out of shield option as well.
Yeah.
So you can kind of pressure the shield itself for free. It's just being wary of them moving out of range.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that. But like I said, the fact that you're thinking that already is good. That's something that gives you some good mental stuff to work on. And I will quickly just send you a few things. Right. So here is this is a teaching model or a learning model, just so you don't feel, because what will usually happen is you'll start trying to apply stuff and you might end up losing to people who you normally beat. Don't get disheartened by that.
Yeah, I hear you.
It is common to hit this point where for example, where you're at with some things is that you didn't know that you didn't know, right? But now that you know that you don't know and you're actively trying to apply it in this image I've sent, going from conscious incompetence to conscious competence is very difficult. And the rest of your play will suffer when you're trying to do it. It's a fact, it will happen. But in the grand scheme, by the time you get to the point where all of this stuff is automatic to you, and you've become competent at it without having to think about it, you'll be a better player in the long run.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So don't get disheartened in the short if there's any short-term losses, because the long-term goals are coming. I will send you. I'm going to send you a couple of videos now.
Yep.
This is there's this channel. Honestly, I'd recommend going through all of their analysis videos. It's based in normal fighting games, but it all makes sense when you apply it to Smash. This is a very good video which comes to talking about how the mentality of the game works, and how it comes to in terms of how it comes to making your opponent feel when it comes to stuff like that. And the last one I'm going to send is another one of their videos, which is this. It's not entirely relevant to Smash, but it does talk about how to deal with projectiles, essentially, and how projectiles control space and how they make you play a certain way. Which, as you said, you're sort of struggling to deal with the zoners. It'll be very helpful for you there.
Okay.
Right, so with that over, I will stop the recording.